it's Jess. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video, which I'm sure you can already tell what it's about if you've seen the thumbnail or read the title. But today I'm just going to talk through my reading goals for 2026 and hopefully this will be a pretty short video. 2025 was a rough year for me personally. There was just a lot going on in my life. I had an unexpected surgery. I moved. I had a ton of doctor's appointments. Honestly, I didn't really focus on my reading goals in 2025, and so I want to reestablish reading goals moving into 2026, and I want to really focus on those this year. So let's get into it. First things first, I have set my Goodreads and Storygraph goal to 50 books. I do have a Goodreads and I do have a Storygraph. My Storygraph, I'm just starting to use it. I tracked my reads last year, but I didn't do any ratings or any reviews on Storygraph, but I'm trying to be better about that this year. Just so you know, 50 books is a very easy goal for me. I don't tend to do well when Goodreads is like, you're 8 books behind. And I know I can read 50 books in a year. I always read more than 50 books, so this is kind of a gimme goal. Also, to be clear, while I do track the amount of books I read, I don't actually care what that number is at the end of the year. So I just set this goal to be something that I know I can accomplish. The next part of the goal is I'm in the middle of a million series, and I made that so much worse last year. And see, the thing is I already know that I'm going to start new series this year as well, but it is time that I finish off the oldest series. There are series that I have been reading for 5 years at this point, and I just need to finish up those series. Most of them I only have 1 or 2 things left to read. We're prioritizing these older series. They need to be off of the TBR. It just needs to happen. And if I'm not gonna finish these series, I need to just DNF. Another goal that I have, and this is just one that's personal, honestly, you're not even gonna know anything about it, is that I just want to get back into book journaling, and I just want to be a lot more consistent with that. With the chaos and the upheaval in my life last year, I fell out of journaling entirely. Last year was a miserable year. It really was. I mean, moving into this house was fantastic, phenomenal, but the rest of the year, it sucked hard for me personally, and I want to get back into my personal journaling, but I also really want to get more consistent with my reading journals. I want to get back into writing down long form reviews in my reading journals, which again, you're not going to see. This is just a personal goal, but I'm putting it out there so that I can maybe hold myself accountable. My final goal for the year, I told you this video was going to be short. I want to focus on my owned TBR. I'm not putting myself on a book buying ban. I did put myself on a 6-month book buying ban last year, and honestly, it did help. I'm not doing that this year, but I am kind of seeing about tackling my TBR by prioritizing certain things. So first of all, I need to get back into doing my TBR audit, which I did a grand total of 1 episode of that. That is a series that I started as a way for me to read the books that have been on my backlist for the longest, sitting on my TBR for over 5 years, over 6 years, some of them. Books that I don't even remember what they're about. I no longer know if current day Jessica would enjoy these books. So thank you to my friend Kitty for naming this series, but that is going to be one of my priorities, is getting these books that I've had for the longest off of my TBR and hopefully finding some new favorites. The second part of working on my physical TBR is this year I want to make it a point, if I buy a book, I want to read it immediately. I don't want to have a situation where I get a book and then I think I'm gonna read it, I put it on my shelves, and a year later it's still sitting there. And then the last part about tackling my physical TBR, and this does kind of tie back in also to reading series, is I want to read series in their entirety this year. I do think that's going to be a little bit difficult. I continuously start series and then never finish them. So this is going to be probably one of the toughest goals that I have this year, but I think it'll also be really fun for me to just start a series and read the whole thing through in a year. And hopefully by the end of 2026, this is an absolutely crazy goal for me to say out loud, but hopefully all of the series that I start this year, I will either be caught up in or finished. Insane goal, but we're gonna try. In order to help myself with this goal, I'm also, at least in the beginning of the year, going to be prioritizing duologies that I already own. I will put up on the screen like covers of duologies where I either own both of the books already or I own the first book. I used to not really like or reach for duologies because I just really love long, dense series where I can just spend days and days with characters and get to know them. But in the past year, I've actually read and finished several duologies, and it was just such a good reading experience. It was more in depth than a standalone, but like also it was immediately gratifying that I was able to just finish up the whole series. So as a kind of way to ease myself into reading series in their entirety, I will be focusing on the duologies that are already on my TBR, and then we'll see where I go from there. If I even finish all of them, if I even finish all of the other series that are on my TBR that I'm already in the middle of. There you have it. I don't even know if you care about what my reading goals are for this year. If you have made it to this point in the video, let me know what your reading goals are for 2026. If you have any. If you don't, that's totally cool too. You know, reading is a hobby and there's no way to do it wrong. If you enjoyed this video, if you want to see if I actually stick to any of these goals in 2026, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and being here. I hope that you stay safe this week. If you are in the US, be safe and be smart, especially if you're going to protests. Stay warm, stay safe, and be vigilant. And I will see you in another video soon. Goodbye!